And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to A Bookish Moment. I'm Sarah Burr.
And I am JC Kenney, and it is halfway to the weekend, folks. So, Sarah, I think it's time to get bookish.
Indeed. And today is a very timely episode, and I feel like I've dressed the part, not only with my Drink Up Witches shirt that I am wearing, but also this ghostly appearance that I have because the light is so bright right now here in New York. But we're going to be talking about Halloween and Halloween cozy mysteries, which is super, super exciting. Such a fun topic, such a fabulous time of year. And we are joined by Katherine H. Brown to tell us all about the worlds that she has created. She is a prolific cozy mystery author, and we can't wait to talk with her. Katherine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
We're really excited to dive in and get to know a little bit about all of your book characters because you do write several different series. I'm wondering if you may, for our viewers who may not be familiar with your work, could you just give us a little bit of an introduction to you, your work, and maybe how you got started writing cozy mysteries?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, everybody. So I was first and foremost a reader. I would correct my parents as a toddler if they skipped pages in my bedtime stories. Naturally, that led to a love of words and books in general. I started creating books, let's use the term loosely, with cardboard and wrapping paper at the age of 8 and stapling it together and decorating it and making my parents read it. I sold them newsletters about my own life as a teenager living in their home. So words are my favorite thing. And I spent a little bit of time in the office world and forgetting about my dream of writing. But luckily, my husband was super supportive. And one day when I said, you know, I heard about this NaNoWriMo thing where you write a book in the month of November. I want to try that, babe. And if it works, do you think I can go home and write? And here we are. He said, absolutely, go for it. I wrote my first cozy mystery then based on some little happenings in a spa. And it's just been a roller coaster from there. I don't always get high sales, but then sometimes I get surprisingly good just fans of a series that I never saw coming. And I love to write and put the story out there, even if 2 people are going to read it. So that's I guess 2018 or 2019 was when I became published for the first time.
Wow.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
That is that's an inspiring and fun story. You know, especially I want to tip my hat to you for keeping this whole lifelong dream going. You know, we often hear stories of, I was interested in it when I was little, but then life got in the way and then nothing happened. Not with you. That is just really cool to hear.
Thank you.
And before we dive into just one of the many books that you have written, I do want to make sure that we say hello to our wonderful viewers who are joining us here live. We've got Farmhouse Reader, Guy That Fixes Stuff, Vicki Browning, and DHB all saying hellos, good afternoons, and happy hump day. So thanks, guys, so much for being here with us. Katherine, let's talk about the Sassy Supplies Cozy Mysteries, because we are starting off with Costumes and Cadavers, which is very timely for this time of year, being a Halloween cozy mystery. Can you please set the setting for us about your character Charity and the world that she inhabits?
Absolutely. So she's a small town Texas girl, and I happen to be from small town Texas. So it was kind of a nice, easy setting to write. And she owns a craft store, Sassy Supplies. That might stem from my love of Hobby Lobby. I don't know. But she has just all of the small town characters coming in. So everybody knows everybody there. And when you open Costumes and Cadavers, you're going to immediately be at a Halloween party. As Sarah said, it's, perfect for the season. And everybody's in costume. So the skeleton lying in the yard at the beginning doesn't seem too out of place until everybody realizes he's never picked it up again. So it's just a really fun, who of your neighbors maybe committed this murder, who done it. I really love being able to do close-knit communities. I think that's one of many people's, not everyone's, but favorite thing about Cozy Mystery is just that get to know everybody feeling. And that's very quick and easy to do with the Sassy Supplies series.
Well, and I think Sassy, folks, it's that Sassy works for this in many ways, and that's all I'm going to say about that. That you just need to go and go get the book. But let's talk a little bit about Charity herself. Can you introduce Charity to everybody? Kind of give us maybe a little of her background, and because she's a fun character to get to know.
Sure. So Charity, she's in her late 20s. She lives with Grampy, her grandpa, who recently moved in with her. But he doesn't really need a lot of taking care of. He was just lonely. And you'll see that Grampy's just about as sassy as Charity as you go through the book. He's really fun. And Charity also, she has become owned by a cat because cat owners don't own the cat owns them. And
Truth.
She has a Persian cat named Jinx who has quite the attitude. So once again, I guess you're right, JC. I just put sassy everywhere in the book. So Charity just really loves to bring out people's creative spirit. So throughout this series, which happens to be a series of holiday novellas, Halloween is not the only holiday that comes through. Each book has kind of a holiday craft because Charity really wants to bring the community together, bring out craftiness and creativity, and she really has to become creative when this murder occurs at her home because she is the main suspect at the beginning. So she's a down-to-earth girl. Some people say she's blonde. You'll notice she's quite adamant. She has light brown hair. So her attitude is just super fun to write and hopefully just as fun to read.
That was one of the things when I was reading and noticed her kind of pushback when it's like, no, I just have very, very light brown hair. I thought that was like a fun way to kind of showcase her personality. And you're right, there's so many characters that we're introduced to kind of right off the bat. And you mentioned this is a novella, so it's a really like nice, fun read that goes by very, very quickly and really just puts you in the holiday spirit. And it was really fun to be introduced to not only Charity, Grampy, and Jinx, but there are a lot of other characters that will continue to pop up in the series. Two of my most favorites, though, their origin story, Margot and Rita. I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing, Katherine, just like how those two got their name.
I would love to. So Margot and Rita, they are twin sisters, and you have to have, in my opinion, the absolute lovable, you're here for the side characters. Some people only want the main character, but it's really fun to root for the side characters because their story to me is less predictable than the main character. So Margot and Rita came from that, and I just wanted somebody with big personality and very memorable. I've actually been asked to give them their own separate series. I have no time right now. I considered it. So in the book, you'll find out that Margot and Rita were named because sadly, Mommy Dearest was a bit of a lush, and she was on a lot of pain medication in the hospital to top that off. And she yelled for somebody to bring her a margarita. And dear old dad, blustered as he was, wrote Margot and Rita on the birth certificates, and they stuck. So those girls will never live down their history, but they live up to their personalities completely.
I absolutely love that. That was a moment that just made me laugh out loud. And I was like, that is too funny. We've got Vicki Browning commenting in our chat saying that she's always looking for good Halloween books, especially cozies. Just added Costumes and Cadavers to Kindle, and
Thank
book
you.
1 in the Ooey Gooey Bakery series. So that's so wonderful, Vicki. I'm glad you're going to have a fun time.
Yes. Absolutely. And so one of the things that speaking of fun, someone who at least early on maybe doesn't seem quite so fun, Detective Soda. Especially, when it's interesting how Charity and the detective kind of have their first couple of interactions, definitely do not fall into the meet cute category by any means.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the good detective?
Sure. So he's super hardworking and very focused. And when Charity kind of comes at him full sassy force, it's he doesn't react immediately well to that. He's kind of playing his cards close to his chest at that point. She is brought in for questioning. She's suspected due to many things: blood on Jinx, murder weapon came from her store. There's so many things that tie Charity to this. But what we find out is that unlike a lot of cozy mystery police officers in any series, mine or other people's, we don't have him jumping to conclusions, but she's jumping to the conclusion that he is jumping to the conclusion. And so he's really saving a suspect for when he gets more evidence. And she, on the other hand, is going full force trying to clear her name, even though she has not been arrested or accused or anything. So because of that, he is kind of the quiet type at the beginning. And we don't see that star-crossed lovers. We don't see that grumpy versus sunshine as far as insisting she's the murderer. And you get a new dynamic, I feel like. But his quiet side pays off, and he continues to work diligently. And I really like where their relationship eventually goes. Down the road, they might even work together once or twice. One of my favorite scenes is found in Gingerbread and Gravediggers, the Christmas mystery. And Charity is pleasantly surprised to find that he is at that point actually listening to some of the things that she's saying. And they're just super fun, but very different personalities.
I love new, fresh dynamics when it comes to detectives and our amateur sleuths and cozy mysteries. I'm wondering, though, Katherine, can you kind of take us back to maybe the origins of this particular series? How did you meet Charity, and what made you decide that this was going to be a holiday themed series?
So there was a contest for cozy mysteries, and it had to be Halloween themed, and it was in what I considered a absolute must be a part of, because it was full of amazing authors that I looked up to, big names that I still at this point don't feel like I've reached their level of success or recognition, of books and things. And I just felt like that was somewhere that I wanted to be, because A, you get a little bit of self-validation to be accepted into something like that. And B, I knew that I could learn from them. I could learn so much by reading their stories, being a part of that work from them, really getting a handle on how they marketed. I must say authors are one of the most supportive group of people I've ever met, because everybody is, let me share your book. Everybody. And we all love to read. So we love to read each other's stories. And I just felt like I would improve so much as an author if I got into that anthology at the time. And so Halloween was picked for me. That was the theme. And I knew every character needed to have a reason to be there. It was contest worthy. This wasn't just somebody like this book. This is, do I get chosen as one of 50 people out of all of these entries? And so from there, I kind of began to plan once I got accepted and shockingly was sent a contract to sign. And I decided to use it to jumpstart a series and learn during that anthology something that could be put in place to succeed more than I felt like my previous series had when I kind of went into this with no marketing experience. So it proved to be absolutely a jumping point for my creativity, because after a Halloween theme, I just felt really excited to do every other holiday, but it also really boosted my confidence about these characters because it was beloved in that anthology. So,
Well,
That's
that's so
awesome.
cool. Congratulations to you.
thank you.
And
So one kind of along that line then, where now this story that you talked about in the anthology, now I apologize, I can be a little slow on the uptake at time. Can folks still find that story in this particular anthology? And if so, where can they go find that?
It was called Once Upon a Halloween, and I believe there are still probably paperback copies for sale on Amazon. But after the first year, authors were all given the rights to their stories back. And so the ebook version, last I checked, I don't think that's still out there. But you should be able to find paperbacks or even resell paperbacks and things on Amazon that have a large collection of those authors. And even if it's not for sale, it's likely still listed as out of stock. And you could then go in and get a list of like authors and their stories found in it if you wanted to look up 2 or 3 of those. It, like I say, it had just a plethora of wonderful cozy mystery authors that I just highly respect and was astounded to be a part of.
That's awesome. And taking a look at our time together, I want to make sure that we are able to touch base on some of your other works that you have out there, Katherine. Your steampunk Mary Poppins series. Tell us about it. What is this concept, and how did this come to you?
Okay, let me grab the book to show everybody this cover. So steampunk, for those of you who may not know, is historical fiction, but set with technology that perhaps didn't exist at the time. So steampunk, obviously steam technology, a lot of it is clockwork technology. Some people call that clockpunk. A lot of times they're intertwined. So steampunk Mary Poppins was an idea that I had for the longest time before I made time to write it because I was focusing on the cozy mysteries. I love to read steampunk. I love to read fantasy. I love to read basically anything but horror and nonfiction. Please don't make me read nonfiction. But steampunk was always one that was my go-to for reading. So I just decided that if I love to read it that much, that it sure would be fun if I could write it. It's kind of like the cozy mysteries, something that I was comfortable with, but wanted to also stretch myself because I'd never done it before. And so Mary Poppins, well, I guess I haven't told you, I love fairy tale retellings a lot, but I didn't want to do something that's been done so well by so many people. So Mary Poppins is another just super fun personality that I kind of built on her and reimagined. It's not the same storyline as Mary Poppins. Instead of a household, she's going to a group of orphan girls. And so there are very, very clear similarities between characters and fun little nods to the original, but it's its own unique tale completely. I had a review once that said it was like a mashup of Tomb Raider meets Mary Poppins. And so that was, I mean, I loved that review. I hearted it and put it on my screensaver for like a week. But that's where the idea came from, was I didn't want to do something that I felt would be mediocre compared to some of the works that I had read and loved, but I wanted to do something unique and different with a character that people loved enough to make them really excited to see it viewed a different way. So she came about, her name is Anna Marie Popper, because she was an orphan and they were given the last name Popper. And she really came up with a lot of struggles. And when she leaves London, nobody really hears from her. And this book takes place on her return to London when she wants to give a better life to orphans like her.
That's way cool. And so now a spoonful of gunpowder. That's book 1 that you showed us. There's more than that, though, correct?
There are. There are currently 4. I don't have plans for a 5th yet, but people love the series, so it's possible I could eventually make plans for a 5th book. But a spoonful of gunpowder. The tagline, if you haven't read it, is a spoonful of gunpowder makes the buildings go down. So she happens to carry a little satchel of gunpowder and a spoon, and it definitely plays into book 1, thus the title there. It's just super fun because you don't have to stick to the confines of the actual era. When you use steampunk, you get to invent and create things that maybe would be possible, maybe wouldn't. You get to tell how they're possible. And so we know that originally Mary Poppins has a flying umbrella. And one of my favorite things to do in this series, in each book, Anna Marie invents a new type of umbrella. So she has a flying umbrella that flies by steam power with the push of a button. She has an umbrella in book 3 or 4, and I'm sorry, there are a lot of umbrellas, guys. She has an umbrella in one of them that shoots out a fishing net into her little pond, and they can fish with her umbrella. I mean, it's just a series. That's one of the little quirks in the mystery, in the storyline, that you will always be wondering, what is Anna Marie's next invention umbrella? So I loved adding that in as just a nod to, again, a beloved character and her beloved accessories. We steampunked them up in the book.
That is so clever. And I believe there is a screenplay in the works.
Yes, that is correct. So I'm very excited and very surprised. That was another contest, and I kind of just decided to go for it. Texas authors were invited to participate in a book to film contest with a local production company that's out of Houston, J&J Ranch Productions. And they received all types of authors sending in any genre. There was no limit to as far as it's all steampunk or it's all something. It was a mixture of genres. And from there, 3 winners were chosen, and a steampunk book for A Spoonful of Gunpowder received 3rd place. And because of that, I was able to, thank you. Again, I was shocked. My husband and I were actually on vacation when we tuned in to watch it live. And we both just kind of turned around and stared at each other on the couch and were like, that was my name. That's your book. I mean, it was completely unexpected, but amazing. And to enter the contest, authors actually had to create a pitch deck, which is like a series of pitches with your summary and some images of what it could look like if it went to film. And that way they could decide if it was viable, if it made sense, if people would want to watch it. And so creating that, I absolutely loved. It was such a new creative avenue for the book to really try to picture it as a movie. So that was wonderful. The screenplay is actually going to be completed at the beginning of December. And then from that point, I'll look into options for pitching it to agents and to film companies to see if we can get it into production from there.
That is amazing. Nice. And
yeah.
we've got folks in the chat, Vicky saying, congratulations. That is so cool.
Thank you.
What an amazing contest. And it sounds like, Katherine, that you have had these like really, really wonderful experiences with these contests that you have participated in. And I think maybe sometimes that writers are afraid to put themselves out there.
Right.
What advice do you have for somebody who may be an aspiring writer, or perhaps somebody who feels like they just aren't sure of what to do or where to go? What advice would you have to give to them?
So for me, things like those contests or even an opportunity to work with other authors, they can be such a motivator to be your best self. And that's not saying that we don't write to our best ability at other times, but most people, I feel like, are so concerned about the opinion that's going to be received from this contest that will actually drive them to step up their writing, to really consider where they're going with their characters for a future, situation, and not just in that book, and creating it to make somebody love it, not just make somebody read it. And I think that it definitely did that for me. Now, A Spoonful of Gunpowder was already written, but imagining it on screen was a drive in creating the best pitch deck that I could. And I had friends who said, oh, I would love to see this at Cirque du Soleil, or this is amazing. This world is really cool. And that kind of gave me that confidence. But, win or lose, you learn so much by submitting to those contests, because many times, not every time, many times you're going to receive feedback from somebody that is a little more knowledgeable than you, from someone who's more experienced than you. And so you're not losing no matter what, because you are gaining something from the experience. And you know what? Those people aren't going to see me in person. Nobody's going to make fun of me if I lost that contest. Readers aren't going to stop buying my books because they didn't make it. And so I think once you let go of those fears, or hold on to the fears but overcome them, as we have to do so much in life, and just see what you can get out of it, the contest being the best, the winner being the best, there's still so much else you're gaining, and that your readers are gaining by you improving yourself to do that. So I would just say jump in with 2 feet. You need an editor. You know, we learned that the hard way, but otherwise, you're never going to get any less published than you currently are by trying something new.
I love that. That is a very, very astute way to end some very, very fabulous advice that,
Yeah,
you know,
that's some bumper sticker material there.
yeah. I was like, that says it all. And looking at our time together, Katherine, we are quickly running out of our moment together.
No.
I would really love to know what is next for you. What's next in your writing world?
So 2 or 3 things are coming next. I have a cozy mystery series about a truck driver who used to be a fashionista, but had to go through some hoops to inherit her father's company after his death and learn to drive an 18-wheeler as a pink-haired, high-heel-wearing girl. And so I need to write the 5th book in that series for my readers, because I definitely left some relationship cliffhangers, although the mystery has been wrapped up. So that's on the agenda. I also have plans to write another steampunk book, but not in the Mary Poppins series. This one's going to involve pirates. And I always have way too many books on my brain, so don't worry. I will eventually get to them all. The other exciting thing is we spoke about my hesitance to do fairy tale retellings, and that was, Spoonful of Gunpowder. And that series has been kind of going on for a year. Well, I actually applied and got accepted, not with a story yet. I have to write the story to a fairy tale collaboration set in historical times. So a Victorian era fairy tale retelling will be coming next year. I believe July is when my acceptance letter said our stories would be coming out. So I'm taking the plunge on something that scares me, but something that I love, and that will be coming as a collection with other authors. And it's my Christian group actually putting out this historical fairy tale retellings anthology, and it will be part of that group for 2 years, and then it might become a series. But for now, we're just going to focus on one fairy tale. If you have suggestions on your favorite fairy tale, feel free to comment, and I'll be putting that out next year.
Oh, wow.
You are busy.
Yeah. So you haven't decided yet which fairy tale you're going to be doing.
I haven't, because I would like to do one I'm very familiar with without doing necessarily my favorite, Beauty and the Beast or Red Riding Hood, because they have been done so very well so many times that I'm still building my confidence to that. Plus, I really love to read and not know the ending. So for things that are my favorite, I don't think I would like to be forced to figure out the ending. I'd rather read it. So I'm still considering some of the smaller fairy tales that I love and which one would really shine in the Victorian era time frame.
Fabulous. Well, folks, you heard, if you have any suggestions, feel free to comment. And if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to leave a comment on the video with any fairy tale suggestions.
Yeah. And so speaking of leaving comments and stuff like that, Katherine, this has been delightful. For folks who want to learn more about you, find out more about your books, where can folks find you on the interwebs and get in touch with you?
Okay, so my books are all on Amazon, ebook, audiobook, and paperback for most of the series. Only one series is not on audio yet, the Trucking Mysteries. But to find me most often, Instagram, my handle is Katherine Brown Katie. Katie is with an IE. And you can find me there. I'm usually posting updates on all of the books, as well as cute pictures of my 4-year-old who keeps me on my toes and keeps my books slow going. So that's where I interact mostly. I also am part of a wonderful group of authors on Facebook in a group called the Mystery Book. Mondays are my takeover day, but each day of the week there's a really wonderful author who just kind of lets you get involved with their life, their books. Sometimes we have giveaways, sometimes it's just information or sales or sneak, but it's a pretty fun group. And in December on the 8th, I will be hosting one of the takeovers in Cozy Mystery Party, which many Cozy Mystery readers are probably familiar with.
We'll see you there.
So I have a slot. December the 8th during that fantastic multiple weekend takeover that they do. So you'll probably see me around a few places if you're active in some Cozy Mystery groups.
Fabulous. And Katherine, could you repeat the name of the Cozy Mystery group that you said that you were a part of, that you post weekly?
Yes, it's titled The Mystery Book Nook, and it's on Facebook.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Well, folks, you now know how to stay connected and stay up to date with what's going on in Katherine's world so that you can see when her next book is coming out. Katherine, it's been absolutely delightful chatting with you this afternoon. Thank you for sharing Charity and all of your characters with us. Thank you for bringing the spirit of Halloween to our show. And we definitely want to thank our viewers who joined us live. Again, Farmhouse Reader, Guy That Fixes Stuff, Vicky, and DHB. We appreciate your comments. And for folks watching after the fact and you have a fairy tale that you would like to suggest, feel free to leave a comment.
Yes.
So again, Katherine, thank you for being here. Folks, we'll be back with another Bookish Moment tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be joined by Trixie Silvertail, and it's going to be another fun, cozy themed afternoon. So we hope to see you there. And until then, stay bookish, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Folks.
Thank you.